everybody, and welcome to Kickstarter update 60-something. We're still alive. We had a bit of a break. We've been recovering from the pretty hard struggle that it was to get Divinity Originals out of the door, but we're in great shape now and we are working on many cool things. I'm standing here next to the last Kickstarter boxes that are looking for an owner. So if you know somebody, or if you are somebody who is entitled to one of these fantastic collector's editions or regular editions, do please fill in your address on the Larian vault so that we can send these boxes to you. These are the last ones and we'd really like to get them out of the office and into your hands because you paid for it, so it is your property. Let us know. So, what's up? Well, we have quite a few things to communicate today. We're going to go for a little walk in the office, and as we do that, I will explain to you the things that we've been doing and what's next. That was Farang working on a mysterious new dungeon, like he's really far ahead into the design process already. It's an excellent room, we can see that. We can see his perfect talent for putting dungeons together. But I'm not here to talk about Farang's dungeon, I'm here to talk about our new companions. We just released a piece of new additional content, which is called The Bear and the Burglar, and that has a very good reason, because the bear refers to Bear Daughter, one of the new companions, and the burglar refers to Wolgraf, who is the other new companion. I'm here with the writers who wrote The Bear and the Daughter, Sarah, who did Bear Daughter, and Jan, who did Wolgraf, who is our burglar. Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about Bear Daughter?
So, Bear Daughter, as you might guess from her name, was born in the wilds. From a relatively early age, she was kind of adopted by a wandering druid. By the time our game starts, he's been kidnapped, and now she's on his trail to try to find him.
Okay, so, and he was like her father, I guess, so he's like, it's a daughter looking for her father who's gone missing, and learning the world through her own eyes and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so does she have any gameplay functions?
Yeah, she can do a couple things special. For one, she can handle tenebrium and she has immunity to rot. And
yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, she's
Rot is annoying.
Yeah, it's horrible. Whoever thought of that? And she has also heard a lot of stories about Rivlon from her father, and so she's kind of a lore master. If you're discovering something new and interesting about the world, she can maybe...
wandering Wikipedia in the game.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, cool. Jan, you've been doing Wolgraf. Tell us about it.
Wolgraf is a rogue, but he kind of didn't want to become a rogue. When he was a kid, he wanted to become a source hunter, but his voice was stolen from him by sorcerers, and because of that he was denied access to the order.
Yeah.
And so he grew up in a kind of rough and tumble way and became by necessity an outlaw.
Okay, so he's a good guy, became a bad guy, but probably deep down he still wants to be a good guy.
Something like that.
Alright, so what's his gameplay function going to be?
His main gameplay function is that he has excellent perception, and that he's a good thief.
So he'll be seeing all of Farang's secrets.
Exactly. That's so for characters, for instance, like a duo of a knight and a mage, who are not very stealth-like. Yeah. He will be an excellent addition to the party because he will discover many secrets for you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we have a rogue, we have a ranger, we had Madora, who was a warrior, and then we had Jahan, who was a mage. So basically you now have a full complement of companions that can complement your party basically, right? And give you some extra backstory. Excellent, thank you guys. By the way, what are you working on right now?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I actually do know, but we're not going to tell you just yet. But these two are engaged in a high act of world building, I would say. Okay, good. Let's go on to our next thing, Thomas. We're here with Thomas, who some of you may remember as the man who was dancing at the very end of the Kickstarter campaign and caused lots of joy in the office while doing so. And he's been working quite hard actually on a feature that has been highly wanted and highly anticipated. I'm talking about the ability to listen in on dialogues that the other players are having in multiplayer. Thomas, can you explain us exactly what you've been doing?
Of course, of course. Hello everybody. So this new feature allows you to listen in on other people's conversations. So let's say I'm Scarlet and I'm talking to Menges here, but Roderick, he can be standing next to it, but he can be at the other side of the level for all I care. But let's say he wants to listen in on Scarlet's dialogue. Well, now you can go to Scarlet and you get this new ear icon that says listen to this character. voila, you get the dialogue, the same dialogue UI you always have, but instead of normally, you can quit listening or start listening.
That's the little ear that you have here, right? Okay.
So let's say here on the one client, Scarlett is continuing the conversation, and you are up. The text comes in the other window.
And you can scroll here also?
And I can scroll back and forward. I see all the history. Let's say I just barge in on the conversation while it's already long busy.
Yeah. So now you can go.
So I start listening, and I can read back all the things that have been discussed until then.
This is much better than what it used to be, because in the past you just had a little text bubble, and if you missed a piece of the text, the only way that you could actually read up that was through the diary where you had a dialogue history. So this is something we wanted to do for quite some time already, but it turned out that it was really complicated to get it into the game.
Well, it was a bit complicated because we had to catch a lot of edge cases, usual suspects such as disconnection, but also while you could be listening to somebody, you could get dragged into the conversation yourself. Yeah. So you could be standing next to it, and all of a sudden you'd have to participate, and we had to make that clear to the player as well. At that point you can't leave the conversation anymore. You're in some kind of listening state, you're also participating, and you have to wait until you actually answered before you can leave the listening state again.
There are lots of states, but they've all been covered now, so everything should work as intended. Alright, let's go on to the next thing. Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
But improving the quality of life of the user interface in Original Sin is not the only thing that we're doing, or adding extra content such as our companions. We're also doing some extra polishing on the game. For instance, Guillaume here, who is in charge of all of the visual effects on Divinity Original Sin, is working on improving many of the skills and spells that are in the game. Can you give a little insight in what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So as you said, we started a second pass on the skills that were not satisfying yet, not at all the level we want to reach. So this, for example, is a new cast effect for the whirlwind skill.
Yeah, and it's looking indeed very improved over the other thing. I've seen something on the screen of Peter here, who is working. What is that, Peter?
This is a charming arrow.
A who?
The charming arrow.
A charming arrow. It's indeed very charming, your arrow, but I like it very much. What did it look like initially?
Oh.
You don't remember?
No.
It didn't have the little hearts, I think, or maybe it just had the little hearts, but it didn't have all the sparkles.
But no, it was a lot more flat. There was no real spark in it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's definitely a charming arrow. It's clear for me that it is a charming arrow. It's very charming. Anyway, so we're doing extra visual effects, but that's not the only thing we're doing. We're also working very hard on the sound, and for that we're going to go and meet Alex. All right. Alright, that concept art is actually all concept art of things that didn't make it to Original Sin, and they are from a day when Original Sin was still called Eyes of a Child, so that's a different story. We're here with Alex, who has been working on pimping up the soundscape of Original Sin. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing.
Whew. Basically, I've been adding ambience, lots of atmospheric sounds, which have been added to the levels. I've also been creating the sounds for the cutscenes for all the movies, and creating some new creatures, like, for example, a creature we will never mention, but which has a very terrific roar. And now, basically, I just finished inputting a lot of sounds for the
DLC.
The DLC, exactly.
Coming up now.
Yeah.
So the DLC, or the additional content, which includes the companion stuff. You will also encounter some extra areas, and Alex has also been putting the ambiences and the point songs and all the stuff that goes together with a new area. All right. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before continuing, there was still a service announcement that I had to make. Here you see our t-shirts that we are supposed to send to you. Unfortunately, our factory made a major mistake. They mixed up the Wear Sheep t-shirts, which are these, with the Original Sin t-shirts. So as it turns out, we have exactly the opposite of the order that we made, and we're waiting for them to give us the reprints. Now, they are pretty high quality, so that's why we're using this factory, and so we'll have to wait a little bit, but it's being sorted out, so you should have them soon enough. sorry about that. And now on to the other part of the things that I have to talk about today. There's quite a few more things that are coming, like Linux support, for instance, or new difficulty modes, which are going to be really cool, new skills actually, new ways of playing, well, quite a lot actually. So at this point you might be wondering, like, Larian, why are you putting so much effort into supporting a game that has been out for 2 months there, and aren't you working already on your new games? Well, we are, obviously, and the reason why we're putting so much support still into Original Sin is because we're susceptible to the criticisms that are out there. There's quite a lot of it that is valid. For instance, the feature with the cooperative dialogues that you saw Thomas work on, that is something that a lot of you demanded. We're also aware that you're not that keen on the way that we handle the inventory, so we're working on making that better too. And you'll see a lot of quality of life improvements come over the next months, I would guess. You also hear reports that we're fooling around with these things, which are controllers. And the reason why we're doing that is because we very much like to get Original Sin to work on a TV screen that you can actually play together with friend or girlfriend, sitting in front of a screen, and yeah, share that cooperative experience on one big screen. We don't know if it's going to work yet, so this is not an announcement that we're going to release something along those lines, but we're for sure going to try. So there's more coming, and that means that there will be a few more Kickstarter updates, so flump, don't dismay, it is not over yet. However, that does bring me to the next point. Will we do another Kickstarter? Frankly, right now, the feeling is no, because we think that crowdfunding has a particular purpose, and we are doing quite well, so we shouldn't fish in the investment pool, which can be used by others. However, we are looking for ways that we can engage your community soon in the development process. So we don't want to come to Steam Early Access one day and say like, okay, here's the game and this is it. We'd like to participate, you to participate a little bit sooner in the entire process. So we're going to be looking for a way of doing that. Rests me to say, talking about Kickstarter, that I wish the team at inXile tremendous amounts of luck with the release of Wasteland, which is imminent, which is going to happen next week. We are very big fans of Fallout 2. We're looking very much forward to playing Wasteland 2. We're also incredibly grateful to Brian Fargo for opening the way on Kickstarter for the revival of traditional RPGs. He really showed that it was possible, and was the one that inspired us not only to go to Kickstarter, but also actually to go to Steam Early Access, because I was having doubts about it, and it was he who convinced me that we should go to Early Access, and I haven't regretted it at all. He really was an eye-opener there. So thank you, Brian, and good luck with Wasteland 2 next week. Okay, that's going to be it for today. Have fun, everybody. I hope you enjoy the new companions. Until next time, toodaloo, bye-bye.
Speaking of the military, if there's something you don't want to neglect, it's the bids and requests of your generals. Their influence on the battlefield is not to be taken lightly.
Have a sherry to calm those nerves.
In the Queen's quarters, decorated a